We need to talk about copyright and AI. Guys, I want to welcome you to another episode of Index Card Insights. This is episode 90, and I am running a day late. This episode was actually due out last night. I got really tired and just went to sleep. I guess that's, something you can do when you just work for yourself. But I try to be consistent as I can. We all try to reach for perfection. We don't usually attain it. We try to achieve excellence by reaching for perfection, right? But anyways, that being said, regardless, I'm a day late on this one, but I'm gonna get this one out to you right now, right? And then later on tonight, I'll be back with another one. But I want to talk about copyright with you, and I want to talk about how it relates to artificial intelligence because this is a topic you're not hearing a lot about, but it's extremely important. All right, let me give you a little bit of background. First of all, now me, back in 2011, I found myself pretty much a full-time Amazon bookseller. I slowly made a transition to selling ebooks on Amazon, and this is all going to tie into artificial intelligence and copyright. Okay, so when I was transitioning to ebooks from physical books, why was I transitioning? Because ebooks was easier, right? I want you to know that I was exploring public domain, right? And I was exploring public domain because it offered opportunities. I could find public domain books that were not yet available online. I could have them scanned and I could actually publish them on Amazon and turn a profit. And back then, I didn't have to like adjust it or change it or anything like that. Now you can still do that, but you actually have to try to modify it and make some changes to it. You can't just publish direct public domain stuff. You have to do something to the public domain stuff, either add annotations, add illustrations, some form of expression, right? You have to do that. Anyways, the reason I'm saying that is because I got into public domain stuff. All right. Now, as I got into public domain stuff, and if you've ever gotten into public domain stuff, what you figure out is that you start to become extremely interested in copyright. What is copyrighted? What is not copyrighted? What's copyright has expired? When will something's copyright expire? A lot of people might not realize this, but January 1st is actually National Copyright Day or something like that, they call it, because every January 1st, a bunch of things enter the public domain. So this brings me into the world. This brings our discussion into the world of copyright a little bit more. So now, one of the things I discovered back then was that there were some things that just were not copyrightable at all. They defy copyright. You cannot copyright some things, and I'll give you an example. Mere lists of things like ingredients, mere lists of things like statistics, like numbers, sports statistics. You can't copyright that. Simple ideas. Ideas are not copyrightable. That's why you can have something like the NutriBullet, which is a bullet blender, and then you can have a NutriNinja, which is a very, very similar bullet blender. It's just one is made by NutriBullet and one is made by Ninja, but Ninja basically copy NutriBullet's design, and they did their own version of the idea, right? They can do their own version of the idea because ideas are not copyrightable. Okay, so I think I started with the ebooks. I moved from public domain assets. I moved into comic books, right? And I did this thing called Golden Age Awesome, right? And it was all about like I was finding public domain comic books back from way back in the day that were public domain, and I could reprint them on Amazon. And it worked pretty good, and I made money doing that. And then from there, I moved into recipes, right? Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but recipes are just like the basic recipe, a mere list of ingredients, and basic cooking instructions are not copyrightable. Like when you say, okay, you know, 1 cup of flour, a cup of sugar, 2 eggs and a cup of milk, and then you say mix in a bowl, put in oven at 425, whatever. That's just basic cooking instructions and simple ingredients. That stuff's not copyrightable, okay? It's not copyrightable. So a light bulb went off for me, and what I realized was I could go around all over the place, all over the internet, from books from the library, anywhere, and find recipes, and I could thematically put them together, right? I could say, okay, I'm going to make a pizza recipe book, and I can find pizza recipes from all over, and I can put them in this book, and I can create this book. The key is with that situation is you can't use other people's forms of expression, right? Mere lists of ingredients and simple cooking directions are not forms of expression, all right? So they don't constitute a copyright. Now, listen, guys, let me just take a pause here. I want you to know I'm not a lawyer, but I am someone who has dealt with copyright for quite a few years. I have this background and this experience in this realm. Okay, so I want to share this background and experience with you so that you have context for what I'm about to tell you when it comes to artificial intelligence. Anyways, I figured out that recipes are not copyrightable. Okay, now if someone has a paragraph right before they do the recipe, they say, okay, I got this recipe from my great grandma, she learned it from blah 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 blah, and they tell a little story right by the rest, that's copyrightable. That's a form of expression. But the actual list of ingredients and the basic cooking instructions are not copyrightable. So what that means is you're free to take recipes from all over the place, put them in a book, and you're free to give credit to the original author if you want to. You can say, hey, this is a cool recipe for pizza. I got this over at this website, or I got this from this person. It was in her book, blah, 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 blah. You can do that if you want to. You don't have to. The basic cooking instructions and the basic ingredients are not copyrightable. It's just a list of ingredients, not copyrightable. Okay, so I'm telling you that because I want you to know I made a bunch of money selling recipe books on Amazon, doing just that. And then a few years into that, I made a YouTube video showing other people how to do that, and I taught them how to use a software that would help them do that really, really quickly. And other people made a bunch of money doing that. All right. And it's all based on the premise that recipes are not copyrightable, right? It's all based on that premise. Okay. It's all based on the idea of non-copyrightable content. Okay. Mere lists of ingredients or mere lists of anything are not copyrightable. Simple phrases are not copyrightable. Now, the simple phrases thing, I will tell you, simple phrases can be trademarked. But that's a different thing. That's beyond the scope of this video. I'm not going to get into trademarks today. But simple phrases can be trademarked, but that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about here. Okay. So trademarking something it's harder to get a trademark than a copyright, because a copyright you have as soon as something's created, as long as it's a form of expression. Now you can register your copyright with the government. And why do we register our copyrights with the government if we already have a copyright as soon as something's created? We register it for proof. You register a copyright so that you can prove that that thing is yours, that you did that, right? It doesn't matter. Let's move on. The point that I'm trying to make is that some things are not copyrightable. All right. Now, I wanted to give you some context so that you don't think I'm just reading off of a page and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because in this particular instance, I do know what I'm talking about. So let me read an article for you, because a couple weeks ago, Copyright Office, the U.S. Copyright Office, made its first kind of moves towards how to handle copyright when it comes to AI. All right. Now, this is a big deal, man, because right now we're in this period of time where AI is creating tons of stuff. AI is creating artwork. AI is creating entire books of content, right? So the Copyright Office, the U.S. Copyright Office, and the copyright offices around the world are having to figure out how to address this issue of ownership when it comes to creations of artificial intelligence. So let me read this for you. This came out a couple weeks ago, and then I'm going to give you some insights on this particular thing, because this is important. You need to know this. It's important, all right? If you deal with AI at all, this is important, all right? Can work created by AI be copyrighted? Copyright Office issues formal guidance. On March 15th, 2023, the U.S. Copyright Office announced that works created with the assistance of artificial intelligence may be copyrightable, provided the work involves sufficient human authorship. That's copyright registration guidance. Works containing material generated from artificial intelligence, 88 Fed Reg 16190. Whatever. You can go to the Copyright Office and find that for yourself. This is the Copyright Office's first ever formal guidance on this issue. It is well established that only material that is the product of human creativity is eligible for copyright registration under the U.S. law. In the Federal Register notice, the Copyright Office explained that the scope of this human authorship requirement has been challenged in recent years with the onset of AI-generated works. All right? And that the Copyright Office has already received and examined multiple applications for registration that claim all copyright in AI-generated materials. According to the policy statement, works created by AI without human intervention or involvement still cannot be copyrighted, as they fail to meet the human authorship requirement. For example, when an AI program produces a complex written, visual, or musical work in response to a prompt from a human, the traditional elements of authorship are determined and executed by the technology, not the human user, and thus the resulting work is not copyrightable. On the other hand, a work containing AI-generated material, in a creative way or modifies material originally generated by AI technology, ultimately copyright protection will depend on whether the AI's contribution are the result of mechanical reproduction or they reflect the author's own mental conception. The Copyright Office said the answer will depend on the circumstances, particularly how the AI tool operates and how it was used to create the final work. Copyright applicants must disclose when their work includes AI-generated material, according to the notice, and previously filed applications that do not disclose the use of AI must be corrected. The Copyright Office stated that it may issue additional guidance in the future related to the registration of works produced by and other copyright issues presented by this technology, and intends to publish a notice of inquiry later this year seeking public input on additional legal and policy topics involving AI. These steps indicate the Copyright Office's intent to remain involved in the evolving legal landscape of AI technology and its implications for copyright law. Cool. What does all that mean? Well, it really comes back to a form of expression, okay? The Copyright Office right now is not interested in registering a copyright for you if you didn't do it. If there's no human form of expression involved in that thing that you created. If all you did was go over to ChatGPT and enter a simple prompt and tell it to write you an essay about, electric cars, well, you can't copyright that because you didn't do anything. The AI created that, and the Copyright Office considers that content non-copyrightable. Okay. So if you're just now tuning in, we're talking about copyright and AI. Okay. So the first insight that I want to give you, okay, the question is, who owns copyright of AI-generated work? The answer is nobody. Currently, nobody owns the copyright of AI-generated work. If you go over to Stable Diffusion or if you go over to Midjourney, type in a couple of prompts and have AI create a piece of artwork for you, nobody owns the copyright on that. It's non-copyrightable. Anyone can go over there and they can grab a collection of artwork that was created on Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or Lexica Art. Anyone can go over there and collect a whole bunch of the AI-generated images, and they can use it to sell because it's non-copyrightable, okay? Non-copyrightable. Just like I was selling those recipe books back in the day, just like I was selling those old comic books back in the day, people can use your AI-generated artwork and sell it. It's non-copyrightable. It's the same as public domain, all right? Now, that's currently. These are things that are evolving right now. AI has just been around the last couple of years. They've been dealing with this stuff, and right now with the onset of ChatGPT, it's hitting an all-time high. But you have to understand, non-copyrightable is non-copyrightable. All right, and what they're basically saying is that if the AI did all the work and there's no human expression, all you did was enter a couple of prompts and the AI did everything, that is non-copyrightable. That is non-copyrightable. Big Dominus in the house. Afternoon, buddy. Just a quick pop on, catch up with your replay this evening. Right on, man. Good to hear from you. So it's non-copyrightable. The answer is, as it stands right now, at least in the United States, it might be a little different in other countries, but I would imagine they're all leaning in the same direction. As it stands right now, if you go to one of these AI generating art tools like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, and you type in a text prompt and it spits out an image for you, that image is non-copyrightable. Unless you take that image, you go over to Photoshop, you go over somewhere and you do some kind of human intervention to that image. You adjust it, you have some kind of human form of expression with that image, then you can copyright it. But as far as like the AI, as far as the AI doing everything and you just doing a text prompt, you can't copyright that image. Now, what do we mean when we say you can't copyright that image? What I'm basically saying is you can't register the copyright. The US Copyright Office won't acknowledge it. They won't acknowledge that you are the copyright owner of that image. They consider it non-copyrightable. So what that means is, like I said before, it's free. It's free season. Anybody can use that. The only way you could keep people from using that is if you could prove that you are the creator. Good luck doing that when the U.S. Copyright Office doesn't acknowledge that you are the creator if you didn't have some kind of form of expression involved in that work, right? So I'm telling you right now, the AI generated artwork stuff, it's gonna be open season, right? As soon as people start realizing they can't copyright this stuff, or unless something changes, which I'm sure eventually I would imagine it would change if big companies get involved like Disney or big companies like Warner Brothers, big entertainment companies get involved and they're using AI to generate artwork or they're using AI to generate animation and they want some kind of copyright claim on it. Well, they got the lawyers, they got the lobbyists to push legislation through and get these laws changed a little bit. And maybe they will. But what I'm telling you is currently it's open season on AI artwork. I promise you. I'm someone who's made a lot of money off of non-copyrightable content. And I can tell you right now, when I saw that AI generated artwork, like green lights started like ringing in my head. I'm not really in that business anymore, but if I was, I'd be all over that stuff because it's open season. All right, I got a second insight for you. All right. What about the prompts people have been selling? Okay. You see people selling these big packages of prompts. Okay. Now, again, when I first saw this, being someone who came from this world of public domain and non-copyrightable content, alarm bells went off in my head when I saw people selling text prompts. And the reason why, I mean, it's cool that they're doing that, but the reason why is I know I made a lot of money selling recipe books, right? And those recipe books, I just like curated. I just curated recipes from different places and built thematic recipe books. I made a lot of money from doing it, and it was very, very easy, right? So when I see people doing text prompts, what comes to my mind is this, okay? Mere lists of ingredients, short phrases, and simple instructions are not copyrightable. It says so right there in the U.S. government's copyright office. You can go check it out for yourself. Most countries have the same similar laws when it comes to, mere lists of things like chemistry ingredients, ingredients for, elements or ingredients for recipes or ingredients for anything. These mere lists of ingredients are not copyrightable. Simple instructions are not copyrightable. So when you think about these ideas, short phrases are not copyrightable. So when you think about these ideas, you should come to the same conclusion that I have come to. And that means that like text prompts are not copyrightable. Like now, has the US government addressed text prompts directly? No, they haven't. That's because it's too new. But I guarantee you, I could almost guarantee you, if the US government and the Copyright Office won't let you copyright a recipe, they're not going to let you copyright a text prompt either. I promise you that. I promise you text prompts are not copyrightable. They're not copyrightable right now And if you try to copyright them, it won't hold up. If you try to register a copyright on text prompts, it won't hold up. Now, I'll tell you what will hold up. Like, let's say you do a book or a product that is a package of text prompts. Now that's fine. You can copyright that. That's a form of expression because you put that together in a certain order, in a certain way, right? So that is somewhat of a form of expression and could be copyrighted. But that's not going to stop people from taking like 5 or 6 of your text prompts out of your book, running around on the internet, finding 5 or 6 text prompts over here, 5 or 6 text prompts over here, putting them all together and making their own package of text prompts. They can totally do that. They can totally do that. Nothing's going to stop them from doing that. It's open season, man. It is open season with the text prompts. I'm telling you, open season. Not to say people can't make money off of it, but I'm just saying it's not an intellectual property. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. Now, your particular book of text prompts, sure, you could consider that an IP, just because it's a form of expression in its particular form. But anybody can take your text prompts, randomly switch them around, add some extra ones to it from over here, add some extra ones to it from over here, then make their own product and sell it, right? And they can do that legally because this is non-copyrightable content. Okay, so in the situation of text prompts, I'm telling you right now, this stuff's not copyrightable. Okay, it's just a mere list of ingredients. It's short phrases and it's simple instructions. None of that's copyrightable. Okay, you can't register a copyright on a text prompt. Like I said, the order of your text prompts, like when you put a bunch of text prompts together in a product, yes, the product as a whole is a form of expression and you can copyright that, but there's nothing to stop anyone from taking the individual text prompts out of your thing and using them. And you know what I mean? It's just a simple recipe. That's all it is. And recipes are not copyrightable. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay. 3, what's my third insight on this situation? Okay, regulation and copyright law has not caught up to AI. Okay, regulation and copyright law has not caught up to AI. However, and it's a big however, it's a very big however. First of all, however, there is precedent for this kind of thing. When we talk about text prompts, there are things out there that are just like text prompts, right? Text prompts are basically just simple lists of ingredients. That's a recipe. Okay. Text prompts have short phrases and they have mere simple instructions. These are just basically like recipes, and recipes have never been copyrightable. So just because there's nothing in the US copyright law that says you can't copyright this, I guarantee you if anyone's tried to register a text prompt, like they won't be able to register that. It's non-copyrightable. Now could they register like a whole book of text prompts? Yes, because it's a form of expression. But as far as like, registering an individual text prompt, like if you have, because see guys, look, some of these text prompts are elaborate. Okay, some of them are like a paragraph long of a bunch of different little phrases and things, and that's a text prompt, right? Now, the thing is, that's not copyrightable. It's just a recipe. Okay, that's all it is. So anyways, I want to point that out. The other, however, on this is that, this is an ongoing situation. A lot of the technology we're dealing with right now with AI, I mean, think about it, man. ChatGPT just came out in November of last year. It's not even a year old. So the idea of an AI like ChatGPT that can just like write entire books for you, like, the US Copyright Office is just now dealing with this kind of stuff, trying to figure out how to handle it. But like I said before, there's precedence for it, right? The US Copyright Office is interested in registering copyrights from humans. They're interested in registering a copyright for an actual human, not like an AI generated thing. Now, anybody who is using AI to create products, using AI to create books, using AI to create like works that they want to hold intellectual property rights on, you need to follow this situation closely because it's probably going to change within the next 12 to 24 months. U.S. Copyright Office doesn't move that fast, but they're going to move fairly fast on stuff like this because it affects so many people. What I would say personally is, if you're using AI to create something, you want to make sure you either go back yourself and do some human modification on it, or you hire someone to do some human modification on it. Now, I know that messes up your scaling plans. Okay, I get it. I get it. Like, that takes away my scaling plans. That takes away my plan to just like dump like millions of words of content on platforms and stuff, man. If I have to hire someone to edit it, I get it. But I'm just telling you, as someone who's made a lot of money off of non-copyrightable content and public domain content, I promise you, it's all green lights. It's open season on those text prompts. I can tell you that. Open season on those text prompts. And honestly, to me, it's open season on all that AI generated artwork, because there's nothing to protect that stuff in copyright law. So that's what I'd say. Anyways, listen, what else can I tell you? Guys, if you found this insightful at all, if you've enjoyed this episode of Index Card Insights, hey man, be sure to check out my website. I'm at epicconversions.com. I got a membership club called ECIC Group Calls. We get together every single week and do deep dive into tactics, strategies, tips on internet marketing. I let people pick my brain. I give you all the info. We do it every single week, guys. Also, I got a brand new free special report out from 0 to 12/44/86 in 96 hours. You can get that at epicconversions.com. It's all going down right there at epicconversions.com. Check it out, and I'll see you guys later on tonight for episode 89 of Index Card Insights. Peace, everybody.